Hello everyone, good morning. I am so excited. We have one of my sweetest, loveliest. I love this person so much in the world. She is a bright light among so many lights, but she shines brighter than a lot of them. She's just incredible, and I'm excited for you to hear her story and meet her. Her name is Erin, and I'm going to let Erin introduce herself.
Hi everyone, my name is Erin Horn, and on April 7th of 2020, I was diagnosed with acute promyelocytic leukemia. That was right at the start of the pandemic, and so it's been a lot the last 8 months as I've been going through that with my family. I had to leave my family. I didn't know how long I was going to be in the hospital, and I watched my sweet baby girl's first steps that she took from my fifth floor hospital window, and had to face the beginnings of my cancer journey all by myself. And ultimately, this entire 8 months, I have been all alone, physically in a clinic, without any family or friends to be there with me during my treatments, as I have faced this cancer journey and whatnot. So I love to be outside. I love to go outdoors. I love being with my family. I love trying new foods and just spending time with my friends. And so this whole process and this journey of cancer that has hit me has really been life-changing and moving for me. I've learned a lot of lessons, and I'm excited to talk with Bridget today and share my story.
I'm excited too. I remember when you posted about your diagnosis, I was going somewhere with Mike, and I looked over at him. I was like, Mike, Erin has leukemia. I was like shocked because you're so young and you're so vibrant and you're such a giver. Just like I said, a light. And so I was like, not her, not her, not her. That again. And then again, when you posted with watching your daughter take her first steps, I remember I sat there and bawled because I just love you and your little family so much, and to watch your journey. You allowed us into your life in such a personal, raw way. It was truly an honor and life changing to be part of. So thank you for that.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So tell me when you got this diagnosis, because we talk, always you have you fill out a thing before the podcast. So I know a little bit that I didn't know before. And it
Yeah.
had me crying again this morning. I'm reading through that moment. And I'm like, oh my gosh, how am I going to do this interview today? How am I going to do this? So tell me about the moment when you got this answer. How did you even go in? I was wondering that. How did you even go in thinking there might be something going on?
Yeah, so the craziest part was it was actually around this time last year, 2019, so a whole year ago. I just started not feeling well. I started becoming tired. I would randomly get canker sores in my mouth, and then I started getting random bruises all over my body. And so it went on. January, February passed by, and it's getting worse. And I would have like a total of 15 or more canker sores in my mouth at one time, and they were just not going away. And I thought, oh, I'm just a mom of 4 kids. I'm stressed. I'm deficient in a vitamin. Like, I just, Mike was like, my husband was like, go see a doctor. I really need you to go get blood work. And I was like, oh, I'm fine. I'm fine. I kept thinking like, I'm fine. Like, this is nothing. I'm just deficient in iron. That's why I'm getting bruises. So finally, come around March, COVID hit. And I was like, okay, I really need to go see a doctor before I can't see a doctor due to COVID restrictions. So I went in, got blood work, and my test results came back. And they're like, you are healthy as a horse, except you don't have any white blood cells. And I was like, how is that possible? How can I lack all my blood cells? Like my little army of blood cells to keep me safe, from sickness and illness. So they ran the test again. And it came back the same because they thought, oh, maybe it was just a bad test. Mm-hmm. So it came back the same. And the doctor called and he's like, hey, you really need to go see a hematologist. Well, I was freaking out because a hematologist, is a specialist. And with COVID hitting, I didn't know how long it would be till I would get to see this hematologist. So I called, and talk about miracles and doors opening. They had an opening the very next day for an appointment due to a cancellation that had happened. So I went in, and my doctor was amazing. Dr. Stanek, he got me in there, and he did blood work panel, looked at everything, and he's like, you know what? I think it could be these two other diseases, but I don't think they run in your family. And he was asking me all my family history. And so he's like, you know what? Let's just do a bone marrow biopsy just to make sure it's nothing cancer related. And I thought, okay, no big deal. Like, at this point in time, I was not thinking cancer whatsoever. I was like, there's no way. I'm only, 32 years old. 32-year-olds don't get cancer. Well, got home after a very long day. I had been there from 7 in the morning and got home at lunchtime. So I'd been there literally all day. It taken all day for all of this to happen. And got home, and not even an hour later, I got a phone call from Dr. Stanek. And his words were, Erin, you have acute promyelocytic leukemia. We have a hospital bed waiting for you already at Banner, and you need to get there as soon as possible. And I remember I said, thank you. And I hung up the phone because I didn't know what to do. And Mike, and I just started crying, and Mike walked over and he's like, Erin, what's wrong? Like, what did the doctor say? And I just pointed to my notebook where I had been taking notes, and it said leukemia. I wrote down leukemia, and he and I just embraced each other and literally fell to the floor together, just sobbing and crying. We were so lost and so confused, and we're like, why us? Why me? Why our family? And they were very adamant about my time frame, because the scary thing with acute promyelocytic leukemia, although it has a very high survival rate, if you don't catch it at the beginning properly, you can die within 2 to 3 weeks of getting it, because your body bleeds out. And so I had finally learned that once I had been in the hospital for a couple of days. It all kind of, it's such a whirlwind when you get diagnosed with something, or you experience family death, or experience a divorce. You're just so stressed, and there's so much going on, and your brain almost protects itself and puts up these barriers, and it's hard to process everything. So it really took me a couple of days once I was in the hospital to realize how serious this type of leukemia is at the beginning, and how your chances for survival from the get-go are not very high unless your body responds properly to the medication. So it's kind of crazy.
Yes, so interesting. I have not had cancer, obviously, but I've had 2 scares with breast cancer now in my life, and 2 very serious ones where we had to go in and do the biopsy. And this last one, the doctor actually told me, expect the worst. Like, he was preparing me for that. And so the beginning emotions is something I can have a tiny window into, because your whole world is shifting beneath your feet, and everything is moving and changing, and telling the kids and all that. So the last time we sat our kids down and told them what was coming our way and what we would be facing if it was. And so it is, these moments in life are, like you said, your brain goes up, but they're also life altering. Your whole soul shifts in this moment, and all of a sudden all the things that are most important come right into view and focus. And it's like faith and fear, they get real in these moments.
Very, very real. And it was challenging because my kids, they were crying because they were scared, because they saw Mike and I crying, and they didn't really understand what was happening. And so I had to sit down, and it was all so fast, but I was so grateful for like the little tidbits of and thoughts and inspiration from God, or from higher being, whatever you believe in, that I received. But God was just like, draw them a picture. And Mike was so eloquent. He was like, okay, does mommy look healthy or sick? And they were like, she looks fine. And he's like, okay, well, her blood is sick. And so he's like, on the inside, her body is sick and not doing well. And so she has to leave, and we don't know when she's coming back. And that really scared my kids. And I remember I was scrambling as a mom. I was like, what do I give my children? How can I help comfort them during this time? Because I have to leave. I don't know when I'm coming back. I don't know how long the hospital stay is going to be. And so I told them to run upstairs and grab any shirt or any article of my clothing that they wanted. And so they did. They came upstairs and they brought it down, and I gave each of my shirts and jackets a hug and a kiss. And I just told them, whenever you miss me, put on my jacket or put on my shirt or just hug my shirt and know that I'm right there with you, even though I'm not physically there, that mommy's there and she always loves you. And so they were so sweet. They ran upstairs and they all grabbed their own stuffed animal or their favorite toy. My daughter, who cannot sleep at night without her little unicorn, she brought me her unicorn in tears and she said, Mommy, take my unicorn. You can have her while you're at the hospital so you can sleep. I don't want you to be scared. And, just all these little tender mercies, that even though it was scary, I could find little pieces of joy in knowing that, I had my kids back and my kids had my back, and that we were there for each other. And that even though that this was going to be really hard and a long, next now 8 months in our life, that we're going to be there for each other, and that it was all going to be okay eventually. And so sure enough, I went to the hospital, and like I was saying, it was such a whirlwind. They came in and it's really crazy because I got there and I took a suitcase and the nurses came in and I was just like slowly unzipping my suitcase, not realizing how, severe and how urgent that it was. And I was like starting to unpack my suitcase and the nurse was like, oh no, Erin, you can do that later. You need to sit in the hospital bed right now. I got to start your IV. We got to get you on chemotherapy right now. You cannot wait. And I was like, oh, okay. And so nurses, doctors were all in there, machines beeping, trying to draw blood because it's hard for them to draw blood on me anyway. So after being poked 3 or 4 times, they finally get the IV started. And then all of a sudden everyone leaves. And I'm sitting there and chemotherapy is dripping through me. And I'm just like, it hits me. And I just have all this fear. And I'm just like, what am I going to do? And I looked down and I had forgotten that I was wearing a shirt that said brave and kind. And at that moment, I realized that regardless of what life was going to be like for me or how long it was going to be, whatever life brought was going to bring me because of this cancer, that I could find bravery, that I could be brave, and that I can be kind to everyone who I meet, all the nurses and doctors I talk to, and that I can still make a difference in other people's lives. And more importantly, I can still have beautiful memories and a beautiful life, no matter how short or how long it was going to be. And so reading those words on my shirt, it helped me at that moment to have peace and to feel comfort and to really realize that I can do this. I can be brave and I can be kind. And it was then that I sat there and I came up with my motto, which I have this on my social media and everything. But the motto that I came up with that day was, be strong, be true, be you.
She's
and
on your shirts.
Yes, on the shirt.
Wearing your shirt right now.
Yeah. Thank you, by the way. So I wrote that motto, and honestly, it's really been so helpful to me on days that I've been having a hard time, or even days that I'm having a great day, or days that I just can't get out of a funk, and out of that mindset and dark, deep depression, and that I have strength and I can be true to myself, and I can be me,
Yeah.
So.
I really believe that. I really believe true strength isn't about being the strongest physically person in the room or mentally strongest. It's about, in those moments, making a conscious choice for something, whatever that is, and that's what you did. That's true strength. That's making. And not long ago, I have what I call the divine download journal. And so when I get, like you said, those moments that's like, I write it down, like the exact words. I write it down. And so not long ago, I actually grabbed it because I just had this feeling I needed it. But it was, my divine download was, turn scared into sacred. When you feel fear but choose to move forward, you're entering on holy ground on your journey. this sacred ground is what you will reflect on for years to come. It's the moments you will be remembered for. And that is so true with you. This is a sacred moment. You were scared and you chose to turn it into sacred ground and to make it something that now embodies who you are. That's so
Thank you.
beautiful.
Thank you.
That's
Thank you. I
really
appreciate that. But it's very true though. And like you were saying, part of my motto, the be strong part, it doesn't necessarily mean that, if you're depressed, like, come on, whip out of it. You can do this. Not necessarily that. It means to more likely to be kind to yourself and allow those moments of grief, allow those moments of fear, because those are real emotions and real feelings that you feel. And it's okay to feel that way. You don't have to be fake. You don't always have to be happy, but allow yourself to be strong and feel, and then press forward, acknowledging that you've been there and that it's okay to be like that, and that you're going to be able to continue to move on, and that it's all going to be okay eventually. It may not be okay today, it may not be okay tomorrow, it may not be okay in a month or a year from now, but in those little small and simple instances, we can acknowledge those feelings and then continue to move on and push forward in our life with strength and being true to ourselves and having hope and joy. There really is hope to be found in those dark moments.
There really is. And I think it's beautiful when you make that choice, all of a sudden it allows you to open up your heart and mind to the fact that, like, you had cancer, you had leukemia. That wasn't who you are. It's a piece of your journey. It's a piece of who you are and have been and will be forever now. But that's not, it didn't define you, but
Right.
these moments and your choices you've made and will make, they do define you.
I
And so
love
I
that.
think it allows our mind and heart to open up to the fact that there's so much more goodness and beauty and kindness and strength that we still have access to, even in our darkest moments and our hard moments, if we're open to them. And choosing that opens our heart and mind to it, I think.
Yeah. And I was going to say too, one phrase that, the two questions or things that people say to me all the time. So these are like the two things. I have two of them. The first one is, a lot of people will say, "Oh, I don't want to complain to you, Erin, because you're going through cancer. Like, you have cancer." That was like the main sentence that family or friends or close ones that I love would say. And I like, it didn't make me angry or mad or anything. It just made me be like, no, do you know how important you are? And do you know how your struggle right now is validating? You are validated in your fears and in your worries and in your own hard times. And not to ever diminish what you're going through. Because someone else's trial might seem harder or more challenging. Honestly, they say that if we have challenges or struggles and we all threw it in a pot, we would all take our own struggle back. And honestly, even with cancer, I think I would still choose to take cancer back, because I have learned so much through this journey. And like you said, having cancer never defined me. I wasn't going to allow the cancer to take from me. I was going to make it fun. In fact, I need to share the link with everyone. But during the process, I lost my hair. And so I decided, I contacted a good friend, Elena Thurston, who's a photographer. And I said, Elena, I know that you're the one photographer that can capture what I want to do with my hair. I want to have fun with it, because I want to be in charge of my hair. Even though I'm losing it due to the cancer and the chemo, I'm in charge, and I want to have fun with it. And I want to try all these different hairdos. And so we did. And I went over to her house, had a friend that was a hairdresser, and it was just Elena and my friend JC, who does hair, and then my husband Mike and I. And we spent it after just a couple hours, and we did every fun hairstyle you could do, and it's just like finding little moments to make the hard journey fun. It helps strengthen you. It can help you make it through and push through. And I don't know, like you said, have those sacred moments for yourself that are really important.
Those pictures were so cool because when you see them, which we'll definitely have to share the link because they're so cool. When you see them, you can see that there's a sense of like empowerment and peace about you through the whole process. You can feel it when you look at them. It's just like you're owning it and you're rocking it. And I loved those pictures. They were so, again, that's what's so cool about you, Erin, is like you looked for opportunities to just live in it and,
Thank you.
see what you could do with this moment. And I think that is such a gift that you have. And I watch you,
Thank
you
you.
make friends during your treatment and you make jokes with them. And then there were hard days and you would share that too. And I mean, just being so authentically you and looking for those moments is just, it's beautiful. So cool.
Thank you. Thank you. I mean, definitely. I mean, I definitely had my moments still. I mean, I had my hard days, but those, I'm telling you, the nurses and doctors, a lot of people would say like, oh, how horrible to go through cancer during COVID, and what a terrible time to be diagnosed with cancer. But honestly, it was such the silver lining. It was the biggest blessing to actually be diagnosed with cancer during a pandemic, because oddly enough, my husband was home from work. He had never been home as much as he is during COVID because of the, regulations and stuff with, being out in public and stuff at the beginning. And so that was a huge blessing. So when I was in the hospital for those 2 weeks, he was able to be here with our kids. And I think that was so important for my kids to be able to have at least one parent to know that even though mommy's gone, daddy's still here, and that it's going to be okay. And that there was a little bit of stability in that for them. And then also, just really fun. I always tease with my nurses and doctors that I'm the luckiest person during COVID, because I still get to hang out with my friends. I get to hang out with my friends every day. so the nurses would always tease me because they're like, "Oh, here comes Erin. You want to be my friend?" And it's true though. I was like, let's be friends, let's talk. And I did. Going to clinic and getting chemotherapy every day during COVID, for those first 45 days, and then every other month for a whole month straight. It gave me a purpose during COVID. It really did. And as odd and as weird as that sounds, I'm so grateful for cancer that it gave me a purpose. It gave me a place to go. It gave me things to do during the pandemic. And it's something that I will forever have gratitude for in my heart, truly, really. Because I learned so much, and I've met so many wonderful and amazing people. There's so many amazing patients out there that it was just nice to be able to go into the clinic and sit down next to a total stranger, 6 feet apart, and just start talking to them about their life, their journey, things that they've learned. And every cancer story is different and has different treatments. You would ask them what type of chemotherapy they were on or what they were struggling with, and what cancer they had, and you say, "What? I've never heard of that cancer," or, "Oh, I've never heard of that chemotherapy drug." And you think that there's only a few chemotherapy drugs out there, but there are hundreds and hundreds of different types of drugs and therapies, and it's quite amazing what others have to go through as well. And even then, I would find opportunities to count my blessings, because I don't know if most people know this, but when you have cancer or certain types of cancer, you have to be within 20 minutes of the clinic in case there's an emergency, you get a fever. You have to be within you can't be more than at least 30 minutes for sure away. And so there's a lot of people, from Phoenix, from, Sunrise Valley, from Peoria, all these other places in the valley that have cancer, and they are living in trailers at the hospital, parked in the trailer spots behind the clinic, living out of a trailer during their cancer journey. And there have been just so many instances where I have been thankful for my type of cancer, and the fact that I'm only, that I'm close enough to the clinic that I can be within driving distance. And so really there were a lot of eye-opening opportunities that I had from other patients where I would tell myself, Erin, they really are struggling, and look at all that you have. Let's focus on the good rather than the things you don't have, because if I were to compare it to the things that other patients didn't have, they had a lot more things that I didn't have, and so I just needed, it's just perspective wise, the biggest word that I share with people, is just perspective. Perspective is so important in life, and to really process and sit back and kind of allow things to sink in before you act or before you say things that you might regret.
Yeah, I love that because I mean, I everything in life is about perspective and your thoughts and your mindset and all those things. I was thinking a lot of
Mm-hmm.
times the words that come to me with my calling in life, as you will, is to help people be awake. So many of us are kind of asleep and just going about life, and it's these moments like what you've experienced here that it was a major, like, I think there's something about when you go through such a hard thing, such a big thing, a life-changing thing, that wakes you up in a whole different way, because I'm not saying, like, I think for me,
Yes.
like, an average, I might be on my phone a lot, I might be seeing other people's Instagram a lot or whatever, but as soon as I have a hard moment, there's something, like a really hard moment, I'm talking about really hard, and I have them often. When I do, there's something that makes me put down my phone and look around and assess, right? And when you do that, it starts to change your mindset and your heart when you really start, because when you have those hard moments, a lot of times you might be, so I call that awake, when you're looking around and you're seeing yourself, you're seeing your family, you're seeing those around you, you're seeing the community, like
Yeah.
often I've had awake moments at Walmart in line where something happens and I put it down and I look around and all of a sudden next thing I find myself conversing with the people and finding out it's the little kid's birthday or it's grandpa's anniversary or whoever it is, and all of a sudden I'm connecting with people, and that
Yes.
connection changes me and lifts me and it lifts them, and all of a sudden we're all a little better, and so I
Yeah.
just think it's so powerful to live awake. And I think I want us, stories like yours, like you were fully awake, you were fully there, and that's how you were able to connect with all these people and see strong and kind and being you, totally being true to yourself, is because you weren't, you weren't letting those layers stay on you, you just threw them off and went for it.
Thank you. Appreciate it. No, I love that. And it's so true. It's that perspective, and it's that, awakening. It really is. My biggest fear from this entire experience is, and I tell my husband Mike this all the time, I say, Mike, I never want to forget.
Mm-hmm.
I never want to forget what it was like. I don't want to allow it to pull me down, but I don't want to forget. I don't want to go back. Sorry, and I'll get a little emotional, but I don't want to go back to the old me. I am a new person because of this experience, and I have changed and I have grown so much. And I'm so afraid of going back into old habits, going back into falling asleep again and not being awake, not sharing those memories with my family, with my friends, making eye contact to a total stranger in line, or if you have a thought of someone that you should call or send a text to, do it. They need you. There's so much pain and so much suffering in this world. And that was one thing that I definitely learned, especially having cancer during COVID, was that when I found moments to be awake and to speak with other patients and with nurses and doctors, there was this amazing connection with humanity. And it creates such a beautiful world and creates opportunities for us to learn from others, like even just from strangers in the line, hearing about someone's birthday, or hearing about, them being excited to see a family member or a friend, or maybe they're having a hard day. Maybe they just got in an accident and they just needed a smile. Maybe they just, needed you to let them go first in the parking lot before you rush through, just little instances like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So important.
Because you
That's like
never
the biggest.
know. You never know when that could literally change someone's whole trajectory of their day.
Right. Yeah. And another thing that I love, I can't remember where I heard it. I don't know if it was on what was it on? What were we? Oh, it was a show. It was a podcast. I forget his name. Oh, I'll have to find it. But, he basically had said that his name's Nick something, but he's an amazing man. He was born without any arms or any legs. And so, and that he was born that way, and doctors couldn't explain it. But he says, that everybody every day we think that we think that tomorrow is guaranteed, but in essence, it's not. For you, even though you don't have cancer, tomorrow's not promised for you. Or for those of you listening to this podcast today, tomorrow is not promised or guaranteed. So if today were your last day, how are you going to live your day? Who do you want to be remembered as? What do you want your friends and family to remember you as? What type of person do you want to be? What type of stranger do you want to be to people that don't know you? What impressions can you make? And what what hearts can you touch for a lifetime based off of what you choose to say or do? And so that I have definitely learned. I have a lot of friends that ask, like, what did you learn during cancer? And it comes down to that there's not just one thing that I learned. It's literally a whole lifetime of lessons that I've learned. Every day I still am learning, even post recovery now. There's just little things that I have to, I get worried about germs, okay? Because it was so stressed over the last 8 months. Wash your hands, always wear clean clothes. If you get something dirty on them, you need to change your clothes again, wear a mask, all these things. And so I tease my husband, Mike, and I say, honey, I'm going to be OCD coming out of cancer because we're always like disinfecting door handles and walls and the chairs and the counter rim, just really little things that I worry about because my immune system was so weak. And so it's just such a change now to have to face struggles again and tell myself, you can do this. You're going to be okay. Erin, it's okay to say yes to this. Don't be afraid. And really, I am becoming a whole new person because of it. I'm becoming a new person each and every day. New things that I learn. I have to get over little hurdles every day and tell myself that I can do it and that it's going to be okay. And that, if I have to clean up the baby spit up or the dog poop, I'm not going to die. It's going to be okay. Just little things like that.
I love how you just talk to yourself. I was like, oh, she sounds like me. Erin, you can do this. Bridget, you can do this. You are strong and capable. You can do this. I was like, yes, I am not alone in the way I talk to myself. Just even the tone that you were using. Erin, it's okay.
It is so true, though. It's so true. Like, it's so important to tell yourself that you're beautiful and that you can do it. Because I really do. I just admire. It's been kind of interesting because my whole life I've never struggled with body image, and then you go through cancer, and you lose your hair and your body loses all this weight, and then it gets all this swelling and it becomes weak. It's going up and down the stairs. I literally still get out of breath going up and down my stairs. And it's like, really? Come on. Like, these are just some stairs, but it's a real thing, And so it's so important to tell yourself that you're beautiful each day and to tell yourself in your mind, you are beautiful just the way you are. And it's just so important because it's so easy to let those thoughts in, even still. It's interesting because my husband will say, Erin, I love your hair. It's so cute. People always are like, oh, I love your faux hawk. It's so you. It's so fun, But I definitely still have moments and I still have days where I wake up and I look in the mirror and I'm like, I look like a man. I feel like, I'm not beautiful and my hair's so short and am I good enough? And I have to like yell those things out of my head and say, no, stop, Erin. You are beautiful. You are fine. This is just a short moment in time that you look like this and your hair will grow again. Like it is growing. So let's focus on the fact that it is growing and I'm not going to lose it again. So just little things like that. So for those out there that are struggling with body image or self-image, just know that you're beautiful, just and perfect the way you are. You really are. I remember, when not that I ever have struggled with people that look different or things like that, but after you go through cancer, like I've always have been kind to, people that are covered in tattoos or maybe have different colored hair. I've always smiled at strangers that might have seemed rough around the edges. Okay. And that's probably really horrible of me to say. Some of you might be thinking like, oh, Erin, really, tattoos are not that big of a deal. But really though, like all of us have those instances where they're like, oh, you might think like, oh, wow, they're very large, or, oh, wow, they're too skinny, or this or that, or, and so sometimes we have those natural humanistic thoughts. And after going through cancer and being in that, I've always been kind to people that look different than I do, but I have a love for anyone and everyone. I don't care if you're Black, you're white, you're Hispanic, you're Asian, all these things. I love you just the way you are, and you're beautiful, and you are a human being that matters to someone in this world. And so if you struggle with self-image or body image, know that you matter to someone. And more importantly, I believe that there's a God, and he loves you and thinks you're beautiful just the way you are. He created you, and that's something to rejoice and find beauty in.
Amen. Amen, sister. I think too, all of our scars, whatever those look like, whether you can see them on the
Yeah,
outside or not, whether, and however we're shaped, however we look, that's what makes the world beautiful. If we were
yeah,
all the same and all whatever society deems in the current time as, beautiful, then it would be so boring. I just think
yeah,
our diversity of personality, of looks, of all of it, that is what makes this world so just incredibly beautiful. So
yes.
yeah, I agree. Whoever you are, I did the 10-day I am challenge. It's about looking in the mirror and saying those things to yourself. I am loved.
Wow.
I am capable. I'm beautiful. I'm strong. Because a lot of women, especially women, I think, I don't wish it for guys, but I don't understand why. I would like to understand why they don't struggle the same way. But, um, but women do. And I remember when I started the challenge, I felt prompted to do it. I felt this like, Bridget, this is what you're supposed to do. I was like, okay. And I stood up in the mirror and I started recording myself. I'm strong, I'm capable, I'm a good mom. And then I started to cry and I couldn't finish it. And I was like,
Wow.
oh my gosh, how am I going to teach women to love themselves when I still have work to do? You know,
Yes.
and this was a couple years ago now. And now I can tell you 15 without it being too big of a deal most days. But it's fascinating to me because every time I invite someone to the challenge, I see them do the same thing where they start and then I can see all that self-doubt kick in and all the baggage and all the scars. And it's like you can see it behind their mind and it just hurts my heart because
Yeah.
man, we're incredible. You know,
Yeah.
each individual is just so beautiful and incredible and capable of so many things and has
Yeah.
different talents and things to offer the world. And even if they don't have someone in their, or they feel like they don't have someone in their lives that loves them, they're needed and mattered because I heard the story once and it was a priest said to this kid who didn't want to live, he said, your story matters to someone. You might not have found them yet, but it matters and you're here for a purpose and you're needed. Someone needs you. Your unique story and personality and all the things, someone needs you, specifically you. And I so believe that. I think each of us
Yeah.
has a purpose here. And maybe we don't even know it yet. Maybe we're not there yet. And we're just preparing for the big show. I don't know. But I found several times in my life where I'm like, oh, this is the moment. This is why I'm here. And then something else happens. I'm like, nope, that wasn't the moment. It was just part of the moment. Now I'm here for this. And so I think we're always evolving and growing, and we just never know what journey may come our way. And like you could have never predicted this one.
Totally blindsided, completely blindsided. Yeah. It makes me just want to go out and hug every stranger that I see. They might freak out, especially now with COVID. They're like, don't touch me. But it really does. It's so important just to smile, and smile with those eyes and just say a simple hello, hope you're having a great day.
Yeah.
You're
So
I just love.
moving forward for you, what does your journey look like moving forward? Are you still
Yes.
working on
So
that?
Yeah, I know. It is honestly, it's a journey in and of itself every day. But yeah, I definitely, moving forward health wise, I have, monthly blood work that I get done to make sure my numbers are being stable. That basically is going to happen for the next 6 months straight, where I get blood work every month. And then I get to go to every 3 months for the next 3 years, and then possibly every 6 months for year 4 and 5. But basically, for the next 3 to 5 years, health wise, it'll be blood work just to make sure the cancer isn't coming back and to make sure everything looks good there. But I have high hopes that it's going to stay away, and just that positive
Hmm.
affirmation. You can blood cells keep creating, keep making, you're awesome. But definitely, moving forward though, in general, with my life, I told my husband that now that I'm done with cancer, or I say done, now that I'm cured of cancer, um, that 2021 is here's to a year of yeses,
Hmm.
is my motto for 2021. And and that's to anything and everything. A year of yeses, of reading books to my kids. They want to go to the park, yes, go to the park, enjoy those little moments, because they may be your last. And I want my kids to have fond memories. I want my family to have fond memories of us being together, doing things together, loving each other, and being there for one another. And so that's my motto for 2021. Here's to a year of yeses. And even in relationships too, with my relationship with my husband, let's work on us. Let's spend time together. Let's go on dates. Let's connect. Let's not just every night watch TV. Let's find a project to work on together,
Hmm.
and let's go on a hike. Just little things. Find ways to connect rather than to be in your phone or watching TV, or being distracted by things that don't necessarily have as great of importance as those that you love. And so that's really what 2021 looks like for me, is here's to a year of yeses.
I love it. I love it. The first time I reached out to you, Erin, behind the scenes, and I said, "Hey, I'm doing this podcast and it's Say Yes to Life." And then you responded with, "Well, guess what? We're doing a year of yes." I was like, "Oh my gosh." I mean, could it be more perfect? But it is. You're right. It's saying yes to the things that matter, the things that connect us, the things that help us grow, the things that build memories. It's not saying yes to everything. It's saying
No,
yes to, yeah, it's saying yes to real life.
yes. Yes, I love that. It's so true. It's so important to be in the moment.
Hmm.
And yeah, it doesn't mean I have to travel to Europe. It doesn't mean I have to, go see the Great Wall of China. None of that. Like it's just more of finding the beauty in everyday moments. It's what I've learned, that it really is the small little things that count in life, and that's what changes lives, are the little
Hmm.
things. Not the big trips. It's not the biggest presents. It's the heartfelt I love yous, and the
Hmm.
heartfelt I'm here for you, and the heartfelt you can do this. So
I so agree. Love it, love it, love it. Okay, so I know you have a giveaway that you wanted to do.
yes, I do. I do. Yeah. So I have my oh, I grabbed too many of them. I have my sticker here, my Be Strong, Be True, Be You sticker. It might be kind of hard to see. But yeah, so if you just comment in Bridgette's comments below, we could do it on her podcast or on your Instagram, wherever you want. We'll pick 3 random people, and I'll send these to you, and with a handwritten note, and just hope it'll brighten your day and let you know that you're loved and that you can do this. So that's my biggest thing. I want you to know that you can be strong, you can be true, you can be you. And these stickers can be put anywhere. Water bottles, on, your dad. My really good friend Ralph, who had cancer, that I met at clinic, who ended up passing away from his cancer. That was really hard. I gave him my sticker, and he, when he was living, he put it on the dashboard of his car, so he could think of me
Mm.
every day he saw it. So just put it somewhere where it'll give you hope and give you light. So that's the biggest thing. So, but yeah, but that's what I have
I
to
love
give.
it. I love it. I love it. Be strong, be true, be you. I can't imagine a better way to end this interview. Thank you, Erin, so much for coming on here.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure and an honor.